Good morning and welcome back to the WRMN Morning Show, AM 1410 and 836, with one of my co-hosts, Derek Geyer of Big Top Sports.
Good morning.
Elliot the L Train Serrano is back in the station.
It's the disembodied voice of Elliot Serrano, something the station.
And we are here with, as I'm sure you hear us talk about him on air, Fire Trustee Eddie Saunders from the village of Hampshire. It's so good to have you on. We're going to pull this closer so that people can hear you, because we need you to talk into the mic. So give us a little rundown, like how long were you a fireman? Give us all that fun stuff.
I've been in fire safety for 49 years now. Retired 2 years ago from the insurance industry. Started my life out in Chicago with 28 years as a firefighter. And during those 28 years, even back in my school years, I started doing fire prevention inspections for the insurance industry.
Love that.
It paid very well, and I kept going from apartment building inspections all the way up to industrial and high-rise inspections.
Well, I would assume that prevention is a lot cheaper than having to repair.
Right, and that's where I went into actually fire prevention was as a firefighter. You're on your belly with a hose putting a fire out. It's what can we do to keep these from recurring? Mm-hmm. So that was my life's ambition, was to go into places and clean them up.
Yeah, I love that. Because you know what? People will say, oh, it's not going to happen to me. It won't happen to me. It doesn't happen. It does happen, or we would not need people like you doing this job.
Yep.
And it happens more often than not. So some of the tips you have for going into winter, because I know like right now it's kinds of transitionary. It's, cold, but it's not freezing yet. And so give us some ideas of what have you seen that you're like, just don't do that.
Using an extension cord or a power strip on a portable heating appliance, a baseboard heater or a radiator, they take a lot of wattage, so a lot of power. They can melt a standard household extension cord and start a fire. Make sure you have an operable carbon monoxide detector. It's state law if you have fossil fuel for heating. Please make sure you maintain a fire extinguisher and working smoke detectors. Ideally, a smoke detector on at least every level of the home. Mm-hmm. Newer homes are built where you've got a smoke detector in every bedroom and out in the hallways.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yes. They're inexpensive nowadays. You're talking about an average of about $40 for a smoke detector, and some of them come with a 10-year sealed battery. So the whole thing, most of the smoke detectors expire after 10 years. And with a sealed battery, it's good for the full 10 years. So people have to understand when they're buying something to really look at the stickers. And there'll be information on the back of the smoke detector in regards to when it was made, so that you're not changing the battery every year when you buy a sealed 10-year smoke detector. It's good for a full 10 years.
And I had no idea that smoke detectors had an expiration date. And I was at one of the bars I manage, and it was going off, and we took it down, to check the battery, and it was sealed, and it had expired like a year prior. But we had no idea that. So I don't know if you guys know, but that's huge that smoke detectors do expire. Do carbon monoxide detectors, do they also last 10 years, or are those a little less?
No, they're actually on a 10-year cycle now, too.
Okay. Very good. I didn't know that either.
Yes.
I don't. And fire extinguishers. That's the other thing, people. If you don't have one, invest in, even if it's a small one. And have you, those new fire blankets?
Yes.
I mean, I've seen those on commercials. I actually have one at the Mobile Marriott, and those work pretty well.
Yes. Yeah, they're fiberglass. I hang mine inside of one of the pantry cabinets right on the back of the cabinet door. It's real good if you've got a stove fire on top of the stove. If you don't have the lid for the pan handy, you just throw that over it and it smothers it right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw those. So I went and I purchased one. And those you can find really, really inexpensive.
Like $8.
Yeah, I think I got mine on sale for like $5.99. Yeah. I'm like, I got to buy one just to have, especially because I have propane. So I just was like, let's better safe than sorry. So, okay, now let's talk with like freezing temperatures coming. What are some of the things that we need to do in the freezing weather?
Well, first of all, I put out a public service announcement the other day in regards to make sure you disconnect your hose bibs for any garden hoses that are outside. They'll freeze and back up into the house, and they'll ruin that petcock right there.
Had that happen.
I did too once. My
Basement, couldn't figure out where the water in my basement was coming from. And I'm like, what happened? And it was the pipe between outside and in the house cracked. And it doesn't have an on and off. And there was the water filling up my basement in like January.
And you have to shut the water off to the whole
To
house.
the whole house. Yep. Learned that lesson pretty quickly. So yes, that does happen. And I've seen those little insulated things that you could put over the spigot.
It helps.
Outside. Do they help?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I think the more precautionary things you do, the better.
Much better.
Yeah. And nobody wants water in their basement, especially in January.
Okay, the proper use of heat tapes. If you've got an exposed pipe, and you definitely have to heat it because you can't insulate it enough, one wrap only. Don't overlap the wraps on top of each other.
Oh.
You can actually start melting the cord. So
okay.
That's something a lot of people don't get per se.
At the Mobile Marriott, I've got my spigot coming out of the ground. That's heat wrapped. I've got the heated hose. So that is good advice. I don't have it overly wrapped, but that's good. Heat tape, you don't need to double up.
No, you definitely do not want to do that. That's actually in the instructions for the proper use of them.
Very interesting.
Insulation, ideally you're going to use a non-combustible insulator, something like fiberglass or mineral wool. It's technically non-combustible. It might smolder, but it won't open flame burn like some of the plastics nowadays. If you do have a frozen pipe, please use a hair dryer or an electric radiant heater. Don't use an open flame around combustible materials.
Don't use a flamethrower.
You're going to, if a fire starts and it gets up into a wall cavity, there she goes. And especially with the old balloon frame construction where you've got an open cavity all the way from the basement to the attic. There are no 2x4s in the walls that are fire stops that are going to minimize rapid fire spread. So with older houses, you really, really have to watch that.
Mm-hmm.
And
sometimes they smolder and you don't even know it till it's too late.
Correct.
Yeah, that's probably the issue, is that you don't smell it, until it's
You'll see a plumber that'll come out for an emergency repair or something, use a small propane torch, but typically they bring with them a fire blanket.
Okay.
It's typically a fiberglass sheet or a treated canvas material or even a piece of cementitious board that they put behind what they're soldering, just to minimize from starting a fire. Yeah.
Oh, yep. Okay, that makes sense. And then Shelley says, make sure your smoke detectors and extinguishers, they have a UL on the item, on the sticker?
Correct. Underwriters Laboratories, based right here in the northern suburbs of Chicago, they list materials. They don't certify or approve anything. They list materials. Listing is simply meaning that the manufacturer is following the directions for that appliance in regards to how it's built and the quality of the components used. UL, once every so many years, will go out and actually observe the assembly of these units, including the piece parts suppliers, the supply of the pieces, just so that you're making sure that you have a functional, safe unit. There's another big one, CSA Group. That's another one of the certified laboratories. You definitely want to look for, in most 99% of the cases, it's the UL sticker.
Mm-hmm. I've always heard of that, and I knew it, but I wasn't sure what all they did. Yeah, so they can't be using cheap garbage and putting things together.
Yep.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. The UL listing, the companies really pay for those, but it means something.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. I know, like Christmas lights and stuff.
Yes.
I always try to make sure when I buy Christmas lights
electrical
that they have
components. A big one nowadays is the battery banks, the little backup power supplies for your phones, as well as the fast chargers. You have to watch this. Some of these imports may not have that UL or CSA laboratory sticker on there indicating that it is a UL certificated assembly.
Gotcha. So what are some of the other, I know you have a whole list of things you want to talk about. Hit me with some.
Well, in regards to fire safety, learn an alternate exit, just like this place. You come in and out every day of the front door here. Where's the back door, and is it unlocked? Can we get out from a secondary means of egress standpoint? Mainly for workplaces. At home, most people understand where they're going to go. And once you leave the facility, whether it's work or at home, stay out. If you forgot something of importance or a pet, let the first responding fireman know. Don't go back in. Fires just breed so quickly nowadays that you may be walking back into an inferno and not survive.
Gotcha. What about coming into Christmas season? All the Christmas lights and decorations and things that like to put up.
The nice part nowadays for most of us is they're LED lights, so very, very little heat output. So we're not worried about coming in contact with combustibles like straw or non-metal garland and stuff like that. When we talk about combustibles, just like a tree, a live Christmas tree, you want to water that every day. I mean, the dog's going to probably be drinking the water in that. It's definitely something that you want to watch because they'll go up. I mean, within minutes, and the whole thing is just, and then it just takes over the whole room. It takes on its own, animalistic conditions. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely. And then what about, so again, extension or the power strips? You know, everybody tends to use those power strips for all of those, everything you want to plug in. Is there a safer kind? Is there ones that you shouldn't use? Is there something, tell people what is the best ones to get?
No, a power strip can either, it's a fancy extension cord, and it also can be a surge suppressor in regards to minimizing a surge that comes from the power company or a nearby lightning strike or something like that from coming through and zapping all of the appliances or equipment that are attached to it. Like I said, nowadays, most of the stuff that we're using from a Christmas decoration or a Halloween decoration standpoint are LED. So it's a very low wattage, very low draw. So we're not talking about overheating. I mean, you could plug in a dozen of those and fill up your whole power strip and not worry about it. But putting things on there like a portable heater, a microwave, things like that are high wattage draw, no, you can actually melt the power strip and start a fire.
Okay, let's talk about space heaters because we always hear, fire was started by a space heater. Fire was started by a space heater. Explain to people, what is a good and safe space heater and what is not? Because, again, I hear that all the time, and they're scary.
Old space heaters, please don't buy them if they do not have an anti-tip feature on them. Modern space heaters that typically have the red glowing element in them, the wire with the ceramic, you tip it over and it turns off. Older ones do not have that feature. Also, you don't want to have a heater within 3 feet of a combustible material. Curtains, blankets, stuff like that. The radiators nowadays, the oil-filled radiators, make sure that there's no leaks on them. If they do get an oil leak and they drain, all of a sudden you've got a heating element with a small amount of oil that can actually auto-combust and become almost an explosive fire source. So just make sure to give it a little wiggle when you bring it out for seasonal use to make sure it's still got oil in it.
Now, do those get hot to the touch?
Minimally.
Minimally, okay. Because I've never had one and I don't know much about them. I've seen them.
Yeah.
So I just was curious if they get hot to the touch.
Not seriously hot.
Okay.
No.
Good to know.
Yep.
Good to know. What about, I asked you earlier, turning on your stove and opening, leaving the stove door open to heat, is that a good idea? I mean, other than cost-wise, is that a good idea?
No. you're increasing the amount of carbon monoxide allowed into the air. It's expensive to operate. If you leave the door down, then all of a sudden it's a hazard to children or pets. It's not the ideal way to go.
Okay.
Get yourself a UL listed portable, space heater, and go that route.
So what throws off the most? Because I know we all have to have our carbon monoxide detectors. What in a home throws off the most carbon monoxide?
The furnace.
It is the furnace.
Yes.
Because, I've had people go, my carbon monoxide detector went off and I just think it's old, it's not working. You should not take those for granted and think that because it's going off that they're not working.
Correct.
Because you don't smell it till it's too late and you're sleepy.
Yep, you've got the furnace and then you've got the hot water heater.
Okay.
And nowadays, more and more of those are being converted from the old-fashioned chimney type, the 80% efficient, to nearly 100% efficient in the upper 90s in regards to being power vented through a PVC plastic pipe.
Okay. So let's I'm at home or you're at home and your carbon monoxide detector starts going off. What is run us through what you should do.
Look around, see if there's any clogging of the exhaust pipe. Maybe look outside, especially if you've got the modern furnace that vents through a PVC pipe through a side wall. Look outside to make sure there's no bird nest or maybe a snowdrift blocking that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
A lot of times I had to make a little wood box around mine a few years back because the furnace went out a couple of times. I'm like, what the heck? Here, the snow is drifting right around the vent pipe, the exhaust pipe, and it automatically shuts it down.
See, I wouldn't have even thought about a snowdrift.
Yeah.
Wow, very interesting.
Yeah, so you have to watch where those are in regards to the height. Carbon monoxide, like you said, is odorless, it's tasteless. So until you start getting sleepier, boy, oh boy. The easiest thing to do is actually call 911. All of the fire trucks nowadays have carbon monoxide detectors on them. They'll respond, they'll take a reading. If the reading's above average, they'll help you start looking for a source. They'll ask the dispatcher to call NICOR, or People's Gas, the gas company, to come out, and they'll help look for it. It's definitely the way to go because nowadays, you're not being charged for a fire call. It's not a false alarm. You've got a CO detector going off. When some of the CO detectors go off, if it's a chirping sound, just temporary, you may have a battery going out. Now, if you have a carbon monoxide detector or a fire detection system like smoke detectors connected to an alarm company, please make sure that when you replace batteries that you contact the alarm company. Otherwise, the fire department is going to be responding as if there was a fire emergency. So please, when you change batteries on a monitored fire detection system, which might include a carbon monoxide detector or two, a water spill detector down in the basement, that type of stuff, please call the alarm company first. Otherwise, they're sending the boys. So unless...
The whole kit and caboodle,
yes,
they're all showing up.
That's it. At least one.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting. What else you got for us? I know, like I said, I know you have a list of notes, and I love talking about this stuff. So,
candles. In regards to candles, please use an electronic candle nowadays. A battery operated or plug-in
even those little
LED
wax melters.
They're dangerous. They really are. They get pretty warm. A live candle is looking for trouble in regards to igniting anything around it, a drape or a couch throw, something like that. It's definitely not the way to go nowadays. Candles, people that use a lot of wax-based candles, you can actually get a dark development up on the ceiling. You won't notice that until you look up and you see it's darker than the walls or another area of the room. And that's actually paraffin wax accumulating on the walls and the ceiling. It's amazing. I've seen it a number of times, and you really don't get it off, for gosh sakes. You end up having to buy a premium material to coat it with, a primer, just so that you can paint over the stuff.
Yeah.
Dryer vents. At least once a year, take a look inside your dryer vent if you've got access to it to make sure we don't have a serious lint accumulation. Those that use their dryers on a real heavy basis and have a chimney vent that goes up through the roof, please, at least once every 3 years, have the thing professionally cleaned. If the dryer starts acting up, that's the first sign that you may have a clogged exhaust vent. If you've got a vent that does go up through the attic, consider having it professionally cleaned at least once a year. Otherwise, most people, once every 3 years is typically pretty good. So the first sign is when that dryer doesn't tend to be drying the way it should be. Start thinking about when the last time you had that dryer vent cleaned.
What about a chimney sweep?
A chimney sweep, if you burn a real good hot fire, professional cleaning of a chimney about once every 3 years. Mm-hmm. If you're a casual user and you don't burn nice hot fires, once a year the chimney should be inspected, and then the inspector will determine the cleaning frequency.
Mm-hmm. Do those, they sell those logs that supposedly help, get rid of the creosote and all that stuff in your, do those actually work?
Yes, they do.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yep.
I always feel like those are on
Yeah.
TV, but wait, there's more. But they really do work.
They really do work.
So
Yep.
as a casual fireplace burner, those would be something smart to use?
Yes.
Very cool. I know we have about a minute or so left. Anything that we didn't cover? Did we get it all?
Exit drills.
Oh.
Exit drills in the home. Know where to meet outside the house. If you've got a fire emergency, please have a meeting point outside. By the old oak tree, by the mailbox. You don't want Susie sitting in the back of the backyard, in a lounge chair when the fire department's responding, and the rest of the family's out front thinking, "Oh my God, she's still inside."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is great advice. Eddie Saunders, thank you so much for taking your time and coming in today.
Also want to thank Graham Boder for coming in and doing a much better job at the sports report than I did. Jimmy Viselli as well. Nice to have Elliot Serrano back in the studio.
Sure is.